All right, rapid fire examples on a half day. So now that we have 4 different kinds of conics, it's helpful to have some way to quickly determine which conic we're dealing with before we start completing the square, making a graph. So one quick way to do this is the discriminant. Keep in mind, in order to use the discriminant, technically we need general form, but we'll see some shortcuts as we move along here. The formula for that discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Note that that doesn't change anywhere in this table. So if we take a look at 44, just in the very first example here, note that we are not in general form, so we can do a bit of work to put it in general form. We need to start with our ax squared term. Don't have one. Moving on, we need our bxy term. Don't have that either. And we won't for the duration of pre-calc. That xy term makes things really gross. Go hang out with the honors kids if you want to play around with those. We do have a c y squared term. That is just y squared. So that is the first thing that we actually get. Moving down the line, in order to get that dx, I would actually have to subtract 4x from both sides. I would have to use a commutative property to move the 14y over, and then bringing 97 over from the right-hand side as well, in order to get true general form. Here's the thing, though. I wanted b squared minus 4ac. Note that I don't care about d, e, or f at all. None of those, neither of those two linear terms nor that constant have any bearing at all on what kind of conic this is. Our discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. Well, I'm never going to have a b term, at least in this class. This y squared is a c term. That coefficient there is a 1. But I also don't have an a for this particular kind of conic. So 4 times nothing, still nothing regardless of what c is. 0 minus 0 is just 0. So going back to our table, we have one kind of conic where the discriminant equals 0, and it's a parabola. If you're noticing that you could have figured that out just by looking at this, yep, you have found the shortcut. Let's do another one. Of course, not everything is going to be a parabola, so let's take a look at 46 here. This is not in general form, and it's worth it to do a little bit of work to get it there. Note that my 2x squared is already on the left, so I'm going to leave it on the left. I don't have a bxy term, but I do have a c term. It's on the right-hand side of the equation, and this is where we do want to be a little bit careful. I need to add that y squared to both sides to get this thing in a general form. After that, it's good form to finish it up. Adding the 12x to both sides gives me a 12x. I can move the 4y and also the 14 using the commutative property. No extra craziness going on there. But once again, we don't really care about all this extra stuff. We might want to move it over to get ready for some complete the square later. We might want to move it over just because it bothers us to not show all of our work. But in truth, all I really need is this a value and the c value. So keep in mind our discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. We won't have a b. We do have an a this time, and we have a c. So we get 4 times 2, which is 8. 8 times 1 is 8. Negative times a positive means the whole thing is negative 8. Great. Let's look that up in our table. Negative 8. So I have a negative discriminant. Note that there are 2 table entries with a negative discriminant. So it's helpful to probably start with the circle because it's the easiest one to rule out. B equals 0 will always happen, but an and means both of these need to be true. So B is 0, true, but A does not equal C. So a circle is easier to rule out. Now ellipse is the only option left. So we have an ellipse. Again, the reason it's not a circle is because our A value was 2 and our C value was 1. Those are not equal. Let's do something else. 52. I like 52 a lot. It can really show us where a shortcut is helpful here. So again, we are not in that general form that we need in order to use the discriminant, but notice that I only have that one x squared term. It's on the right-hand side, so I would need to add x squared to both sides. But after that, I don't care about the rest of the stuff in this equation. Now, if you know you need to graph, you know you need to complete the square, then don't do this. But if all we care about is what kind of conic we're looking at, hey man, A, B, and C are all you need, and there's not going to be any B's. So take a look at what we have here, B squared minus 4AC. It's silly because B don't have one, C don't have one. Discriminant is nothing. Rapid fire examples on a half day. Let's keep them going. Last but not least, we have 53. 53 is where I want to caution people about working too fast, because right away you might go, oh my goodness, look, I have an A value, and over here is going to be a C value. All right. We need to be very careful. C is not -1. And this is where I'm worried some people will make quick little mental math mistakes if they don't go through the process. Our A is 1, because we have that x squared. But in order to find C, keep in mind general form, I need everything on one side. So I would actually have to add that y squared to both sides. B is a +1, not a -1, and yes, it does matter. So we know A, we know B. We can write the rest of it if we like. -4x adds our D. We would need -12y and +31. Again, nice to have, but don't care. So what I have now, I have an A value, I have a cool. So I have an A value, I have a C value. Still don't have a B value. A is going to be 1. C is going to be 1. -4 times 1 times 1 is -4. -4 is definitely less than 0. So this is either an ellipse or a circle. In order to figure out which it is, again, I recommend starting with the circle and seeing if those two conditions hold. Well, B does equal 0. That's true. And this time, A does equal C. Note that they were both 1. So this time we do get a circle. So discriminant is a very fast way to check what kind of conic you're working with. We didn't do any hyperbola examples, but just keep in mind what you're looking for there is a positive number. In order to get a positive number, A and C have to be opposite sides. So you'll get an example of that on the practice, but just keep in mind it's really quick. 8 minutes. Hopefully everybody can finish those 4 practice problems before they leave today. Yay, half days. Be nice to yourself.